It's been almost 2 years since Black Lives Matter summer. 2 years of blaming cops for every social ill. 2 years of falsely portraying America as a systemically racist place. Has America become a better place to live? Of course not. Everybody's at each other's throats. It's less safe than ever before, especially for communities of color. And absurd scenes, ludicrous scenes like this play out every single day.
And we start with breaking news tonight. 12 people were hurt in a shooting at a shopping mall in Columbia, South Carolina. 10 of the injured were shot. Police say that the others were hurt in the rush to escape.
And this just into CNN. Police in Columbia, South Carolina say some people have been injured after a reported shooting at a mall there.
Breaking news here at home. The terrifying shooting at a crowded mall in Columbia, South Carolina. Law enforcement surrounding the mall confirming just as we came on the air, at least 12 people were hurt, 10 of them shot.
Wow, big news over the weekend, right? And you can't sweep this under the rug. There's going to be accountability, right? Wrong. No, not in America in 2022. People of color in a high-profile case, you got to tread very, very carefully. Now, the individual in custody right now is actually no longer in custody. 22 years old, a lengthy rap sheet, by the way. He's already out of jail.
They charged 22-year-old Jawayne Price with unlawful possession of a gun. He was released on house arrest after a judge set bond at just $25,000, allowing him to go to work with an ankle monitor.
He can still go to work. You know, some people in this country, if they tweet the wrong thing, they lose their job. He is allegedly involved in all of this carnage, and he gets to go to work. And by the way, he's done some bad things before. Let's see. 2018, charged as accessory to murder. I'm not sure how that ultimately panned out. This guy is commuting to work. January 6 prisoners, some of them treated worse than what they did to those poor people at Abu Ghraib. A 75-year-old man who did not hurt anybody, who did not break anything, sent to prison for 4 years. How about the horns guy, huh? I mean, he was crazy that day, but he did not hurt anybody. He did not break anything. And like so many others, he may have been allowed in by the police. And what about Big O? Big O's on house arrest right now. He's been on house arrest for over a year. All he did was put his feet up on Nancy's desk. He's not even accused of shooting anybody. He didn't have a gun. This is some very strange stuff that's going on. They think that all cops are, well, a certain mold, right? Maybe they saw too many Dirty Harry movies. Cops come from all walks of life. This little skirmish happened in my neighborhood. The cops did a great job, especially the one on the right. She's about 5'5", 120 pounds, happens to be a person of color and doing an amazing job. Tough, tough, tough. Folks are sometimes taken aback when they come face to face with law enforcement because these faces don't look like what they thought they'd look like.
Where are you all speaking at?
Right here!
Not in the middle
right
of the street.
here! Yes, the we are! It is our right! It is freedom of yes, it is our right! It is our right! It is our right! It is our right! Our freedom of speech, we can march and we can say what the we want! Don't talk and point at me!
Don't point. This woman's wagging her finger in the guy's face, insisting that it's her right in Pittsburgh, by the way, to shut down traffic because she has an axe to grind. What happens next?
Black lives matter! Cop lives don't matter here! No peace! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
You hear what they're chanting? At one point she says, cop lives don't matter, no justice, no peace. Hey, you know, if I were a aggressive, ambitious prosecutor, I think I could say those are terroristic threats. I love the cop here, though. He's keeping his cool. At one point I thought he was going to drive off. No, he's just going to the cop car to get extra handcuffs. Watch what happens next.
Get out of my face! That's right. If you don't want to touch me, no, you're not. I didn't do
Nailed it. Affected perfect arrests. You know, though, half of our country are rooting for the protesters. They're rooting for the bad guys because of all the noxious propaganda we've been fed for over 2 years. It actually started in earnest in the middle of Barack Obama's administration. And how about that woman, that mouthy woman who was just asking for it? She is let off. At first, I thought that was whatever she is. She is in custody. Oh, and she's been at this before because, let's face it, protesting and rioting, it's fun, right? She got in on the act a long time ago. 2020, she was arrested. Simple harassment. Oh, yeah. Simple assault, rather. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is not about police and their conduct or misconduct. It's not. This is about a lot of weird, complex things happening in society, a plot to drive this country to a socialist place. If it were about police misconduct, maybe somebody would have noticed what happened to this Mr. Bronstein.
Can't do it. Well, if we do it willingly, as told you, please don't. Okay, I'll do it willingly. I'll do it willingly. I'll do it willingly.
I don't have all the details here, but Ed Bronstein died after this encounter, or during this encounter. It looks somewhat reminiscent of what happened to George Floyd. A little bit, right?
We're not even poking you yet. Nobody's doing anything. Dude, relax.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Just stop yelling.
I need to breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't. Please help. I can't breathe. I'll do it willingly. I'll do it willingly.
Just relax and stop resisting.
Let me breathe. Let me breathe.
Again, I'm not passing judgment on what the cops did or didn't do, but, you know, this is pretty disturbing stuff, right? How about that? March 31st, 2 months before George Floyd. Let's go through it, please. Taken into custody on suspicion of a DUI. Officers tried forcibly to draw his blood. Officers kneel on the back of the man. He loses consciousness. CPR fails. Let's see if we can figure out this riddle as to why this was not a bigger story. Oh, yes, the race of the deceased. He happens to be white. There is a very bizarre conversation going on and a very bizarre conversation that's not going on.
This book deals with them literally taking people's identities, erasing our pasts, erasing the people that we once were, and making us into something that they can control.
But, you know, sci-fi is often an allegory for the world that we're living in today.
Yeah.
What you just described, somebody might describe as reality.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty meta. I hate to say that, but it is pretty meta, especially when we're thinking about, you know, Greg Abbott, who put into law in Texas a law that bans us talking about the LGBTQIA plus communities in books, bans critical race theory. Like, there's a lot of erasure happening in our very country, and I hope this book can serve as a warning sign of what that will look like and feel like if we don't fight against those abuse of power.
So this is Janelle Monáe. She is a singer. I'm not familiar with her music. She is on the LGBTQIA plus spectrum. She is somewhat famous, and she can say whatever she wants and move the culture in a crazy direction. And nobody stands up and says, time out, you're crazy. And that's not what Governor Greg Abbott is saying. That's not what the law says. No, they can just keep pushing this and their own ignorance and get away with it.
Yeah, because the stories feature Black and queer protagonists in a futuristic world. Why did you want to tell that particular story at this particular time?
Because we are so
we're cool.
We are so just like, and for so many years and so many centuries, you know, rooted, it's deep that there's something wrong with us. Like, as soon as we come out, we're considered a dirty computer. And, you know, it's this whole culture of assimilating, and you know, how do we thrive in a society that just tells us that we're too Black, we're too this, we're too that, but we are so beautiful. And I wanted to represent that in the literary world. The story doesn't stay in that totalitarian society. It really does, I think, embrace hope. It embraces you picking love, self-love. Like, how do we overcome those things? Because we're going to be dealing with these things, right? But my message is to Black and brown and marginalized folks, like, we will prevail in the end. We will.
You mentioned the word beauty. I have to say this. You look incredible.
Oh, thank you.
That outfit is stunning.
I was just hoping somebody was going to say, would you cut the crap? This is America we're living in, right? This fantasy land that she's pushing, and no one pushes back. You see, they have the luxury and the bandwidth to have these deep thoughts, pretend thoughts, and they make money, but it trickles down to the streets. People aren't doing this for an art project. They're actually doing this, they think, to survive. Like this guy, Patrick Lyoya. Have you heard about him? He was shot and killed by a Grand Rapids police officer after he resisted. He wouldn't cooperate. He fought. He grabbed the officer's stun gun. We've shown you the footage before. It looks to me like a justified shooting. And I think about what the cop was going through. Listen to this. This is before the actual altercation, but he's pleading with him.
Hey, stay in the car. Stay in the car. Stay in the car. Get in the car. Dude, I'm stopping you.
You hear that? Dude, I'm stopping you. Come on, work with me here. We all know how this goes down, right? We've seen it on TV. Dude, I'm stopping you. But old Patrick there, who knows, all that noxious propaganda we've been talking about, fed a steady diet of it, he reasonably thinks that this officer poses a threat. Now, he doesn't. But because of all, I don't know what Patrick was looking at or not looking at. Maybe he was watching the CBS morning show. Maybe he was watching MSNBC. Oh, MSNBC. Al Sharpton, by the way, will be officiating at his funeral. Al Sharpton.
Protests are ongoing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, nearly 2 weeks after Patrick Lyoya was shot in the head and killed by a Grand Rapids police officer after just a traffic stop. I'll be in Grand Rapids Friday with the Lyoya family and Attorney Ben Crump. I'll be there to deliver the eulogy as head of the National Action Network.
The eulogy. Now, Al Sharpton has never met this individual. He's going there because there's power and money to be made. And this is what he's all about. And Ben Crump and the rest of them. You know, when he went to George Floyd's funeral, another person he didn't know, he took a private jet. And he was proud of it. Headed to Minneapolis to stand with the Floyd family. And he's getting on a private jet. This racist, huckster, scam artist, huh? And he's doing it in full sight of the world. They're afraid. They're afraid to call him out on it. Why? This is corrupt behavior. Anybody can see it. Maybe because Al has backing, not only from his network, but from a former president of the United States. Listen to this very unfortunate conversation.
I think any of us African Americans who work in business or prominent roles feel this struggle. Am I being Black enough? Am I too Black? Am I not Black? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think Barack Obama got a little flustered there because, oh yeah, he's written the book on this, literally, and he chose to go all in with Black culture. Yes, there was a time when Barack Obama was going to have a different type of conversation with all of America, especially Black America. But he chickened out. And now he uses his race to enhance his stature. And so does Lester Holt. Absolutely. So where are we after 2 years of this crazy conversation? We're nowhere. We haven't helped a damn thing. But Joe Biden was right about one thing. This is actually a pretty valid observation.
I challenge you. Find today, when you turn on the stations, sit on one station for 2 hours, and I don't know how many commercials we'll see, lay 8 to 5. 2 to 3 out of 5 have mixed race couples in them. That's not by accident. They're selling soap, man. Not a joke. Remember old Pat Goodell used to say, you want to know what's happening in American culture? Watch advertising.
Okay, let's watch advertising. We haven't improved the crime situation. We haven't improved race relations. Crime has gone through the roof. So let's take a look at advertising, like Pat Goodell said.